Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Attack on Productions. Fluff here, coming at you with the blue Paikuhan deck from set 12. Hope you enjoy, but before we get into the meat of it, please like, subscribe, YouTubey stuff, leave a comment below if you like what you see, or any suggestions or something that you'd like to see in the future. So, the real strength of this deck is its ability to scry and sort through all of the deck's resources throughout the game. So, the Paikuhan is very similar on front and back. On front and back, we get to, on attack, look at the top two cards, add one mono blue card among them to our hand, place the other on top of the deck, and choose one of our Paikuhans with an energy cost of 3 or less and return it to our hand. So it's going to do that on the front and the back. Awaken is 4 or less life, hybrid, read tap 1, draw 1, and then flip the card over. On the back, we get, as part of that auto attack, when you return a card from your side of the field back to your hand, you get to choose one of your opponent's battle card with an energy cost of 3 or less and return it to its owner's hand. And then also activate main, we can look at the top 3 cards of our deck, place them in any order that we want to, and put them back. So that's the leader. It is a blue deck. It is a lot of good generic blue stuff. So we're going to start out with 4 Zeno, and we're going to start out with 4 God Sealing Technique Trunks. We're going to use the Zeno to ramp energy. We're going to also use it for that -5 clear the field if the field starts to get a little too threatening for us. The Trunks, just the best counterplay in the game. Not going to discuss this anymore. It's kind of standard as is. Moving into the main package of the deck, we've got 3 of the Vegeta Sentinel from Hell, and we've got 3 of the Son Goku Heavy Hitter. These are the primary way that we're going to be able to scry our deck. So each of the Goku and Vegeta have the effect that you can activate main, place this card from your hand into your drop area, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 mono blue Saiyan or West Galaxy Warrior with an energy cost of 5 or less among them, add it to hand, place the remaining cards on the top of the deck in any order, and then place this card from the drop area on top of the deck. Additionally, the Goku and Vegetas can't be played from any area except by skills. So you can't tap 1 to put a Goku on the field. You can't tap 1 to put a Vegeta on the field. The Vegeta is a blocker. The Goku is a barrier. They're both 10k. There are ways to play them, though we don't really care if we ever play them. You know, you really only need to see 1 Goku, 1 Vegeta over the course of the game, and then you're constantly able to cycle and find the things in your deck that you need. So 3 each of those, and then as another 1-drop Goku and Vegeta, we do play Saiyan Synergy. This is for Union Fusion targets. It's for Union Potara targets. You'll see that later when we get to it. But 1-drop counterattack played in rest mode. Then if your opponent attacks the leader, you can place this at the bottom of your deck, and your leader gains 5,000 for the rest of that turn. Additionally, because we are scrying and kind of establishing the order of our deck, we're able to see if one of these are coming up and use the Zeno to charge these and our energy, and use the Vegito Soaring Blow to Union Potara these out with either the Goku or Vegeta if we need it. So 3 of those, they're really good. You never really need more than 2 or 3 Goku or Vegeta over the course of the game. Moving on to the West Galaxy Warriors, we've got the Paikuhan package. So this is Paikuhan supporting his comrades. So this, when it's played, you look at the top 2 cards of the deck, add one mono blue card among them, add it to your hand, and then place the remaining card at either the top or the bottom. So if you see something that you don't need, like you've got tons of Zenos in hand, you can just put it at the bottom of the deck, get it out of your way, and continue moving through with your deck. The other Paikuhan is the Paikuhan Flawless Technique. This guy, when he's played, if your leader is like Paikuhan, you draw 1 card, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand, then place 1 card from your hand and place it on top of your deck. Now, both Paikuhans have a secondary auto that are similar. They're burst 1. When this card is removed from your battle area by a skill, you get to, if the card that was burst was either a Goku or Vegeta with an energy cost of 1, play it. So if, we've used the Goku or Vegeta to arrange, and we know what the next 2 cards are kind of coming up, and then we swing with the leader, we look at the top 2, we grab the other card, put the Goku or Vegeta back down, pick the Paikuhan up back to our hand, and then the bursted card is the Goku or Vegeta, we can play it to our side of the field. It's kind of neat. Doesn't come up a ton. It isn't particularly important whether you do this. It's more important when you're trying to go for a Vegito play, or you just need a blocker to help you survive, so you know you're going to burst a Vegeta. So 2 each of those Paikuhan, and then the third Paikuhan is the Paikuhan stalling for time. This guy is the anomaly, so he's not like the other 2. He is a blocker himself, 10,000, but when one of your Paikuhans is removed from the opponent or from your battle area by a skill, you can play him as long as you don't have a Gogeta on the field. And then his second auto is when he's KO'd or removed from the battle area by a skill. At the start of your next turn, you can pay 2 blue energy to play a Gogeta of 5 or a Gogeta with an energy cost of 5 from your hand. So you have to have 3 energy to do that. It actually, as long as you have 3 energy, you can activate that auto. So generally, we'd use him to block once we're at 3 energy. Opponent KOs him, and then the beginning of our next turn, we're going to spend 2 energy to put a Gogeta on the field, which is a fantastic, cheap way to establish either Gogeta. But just in case we can't get this off or we don't see it, each of the Gogetas do have contingencies to playing themselves out. So just 2 of those, because you really only need to see 1 over the course of the game. Then next, we've got our super combo is a Vegeta Disciplined Warrior. It is a mono blue Saiyan, so the Paikuhans, Gokus, and Vegetas are able to scry and find these guys at will from the deck as you see them. So 4 of those, plus they establish the quality of the card in your hand. You can get things out of your hand that you don't need, that aren't helping you to cycle through your deck a little bit more. So 4 of those. Then I played 2 of the SSB Vegito Soaring Blow. This is what I was talking about with the 1-drop Goku Vegeta Saiyan Energy. You can actually activate its Union Potara skill using cards from your energy if you have them there, or from the field. But when he's played, you're going to be able to choose 2 of your opponent's battle cards and send them to the bottom of the owner's deck, and then he's a 20,000 body. So he doesn't really do anything, but it is a fantastic source of removal. We've talked about it before, about how bottom decking something is one of the best forms of removal against most types of decks. So 2 of those. Then we do play 3 of Gogeta, the Demon Destroyer. It is a unique barrier dual attack. So this is one of the 5-drops that we can play off the Paikuhan skill. So activate main for 3 if your leader is a blue Paikuhan, and you send 1 blue Goku card and 1 blue Vegeta card with an energy cost of 1 from your deck to your drop area. You can play this from your hand. So that's the contingency on this card. Then activate main, burst 1 if your leader card is a blue Paikuhan and you have 4 more energy. If the card you placed in your drop area with this skill was a Gogeta with an energy cost of 8, play it on top of this card. So it's a cheap way to get your 8-drop out. He is 25,000 power, so you can swing with him, restand him. He's protected against most skills in the game. 25,000 is kind of hard to get rid of unless your opponent hits it with a concentrated Kaioken Blue Sun Goku in red, or Vegito, or the green Vegeta, Majin Vegeta Unison. So those would be the 2 primary ways. The other 5-drop Gogeta, we play 2 of the Ultimate Fusion Gogeta. So the contingency on this card is Ultimate Fusion for 2 specified blue, 2 skill or 2 colorless. Sparking 5, when you play him, you draw 2, choose 2 of your opponent's battle cards, place them at the bottom of the deck. And then he is a double strike, 25,000. So they're kind of yin and yang. He's a little more susceptible to removal than the other 5-drop is. So just kind of be wary of that as you're putting him out. Your opponent can easily deal with this card. The 8-drop Gogeta is an interesting one, and I think is probably the weakest part of this deck, if I'm being completely honest. So it is a double strike, dual attack 30,000, which is an excellent amount of pressure to board out. He does EX evolve for 2 blue energy from one of the Gogetas with an energy cost of 5. Additionally, auto, if your leader is a mono blue, when this card is played or your opponent activates a battle card skill, choose 2 of your opponent's battle cards and place them or return them to the owner's hand. So he's a great way to bounce cards that might be problematic back to the hand. Then if your leader card is a mono blue, and you have 6 or fewer cards in your hand. At the end of your opponent's next turn, they choose 3 cards in their hand and place the remaining cards in the bottom of their deck in any order. So he does have to sit on the field for an incredibly long amount of time to get that bottom effect off, and it's just a little slow. I kind of wish this was the bottom at the end of our turn that effect activates. But one of the combos that I really like is putting this out, pressuring with it. Ending turn, opponent tries to pressure this. You play the baby hatch in their turn so they can't blow over him. A lot of effects won't remove an 8-drop from the field, but stuff like full power or max power Kamehameha will get rid of this guy. So, and if he's not on the field during the end of your opponent's turn, you don't get that effect. So just 3 of those, but you only need to see 1 over a game. Then I play 2 Abuni after Image Slash. I wanted to play more of these, but couldn't find room for them in the deck. It's just a good pressure card. Y'all know what Abuni does. It provides a ton of pressure. It's a unison killer if it comes down to it. So 2 of those. Then I play 1 Baby Golden Avenger. This is just for the pressure that I want to kill my opponent once I'm at 5 energy, or I've used Zeno to go to 5. I'll swing with something, opponent tries to negate. Preferably I'm swinging with a Gogeta or a Hatchiyak. I will counter with Golden Avenger, bottom deck a card, draw a card, and then I've got a 30,000 triple strike on board. I kind of want to bump this up to 2. Right now I'm testing the deck at a perfect 50. So if I do decide to go up on numbers, I would probably go up 1 on Abuni and 1 on him. Then we do play 1 Baby Hatchiyak, as I mentioned before, just best blue counter or best blue secret rare in the game. If I didn't have this, I'd probably consider running the Supreme Kai of Time or Heroine's Lineage as the alternatives. You probably don't even need a secret rare in this deck, but I do find that Baby Hatch really helps survive turns that you would otherwise probably lose. Then, for our extra cards, I do run 4 of the West Galaxy Revival. These are activate main, place this card in the drop area, draw 2 cards, then place 1 card from your hand on top of your deck, and then restand 1 of your mono blue energy. So it's a free cycle. So if you know you've got a couple things that aren't necessarily going to help you, but are just getting in the way of you being able to cycle through your deck, you can use this to move through. The bottom activate main is irrelevant because we don't play the Cell Frieza unison with Rejuvenate, but if we did, we'd be able to kind of help with this. This would help that, but we don't use it at all in this deck. They're just free cycling. Then I play 2 Sensu Beans. I was initially playing no Sensu Beans in this list, and then in testing, I noticed there were just turns where if I had a Sensu Bean, I could probably kill my opponent. So it's not something that you need all the time, but just add a 2 of gives us that option when we need them to apply it and really extend our plays. And lastly, I play 3 Dimension Magics. I moved this down from 4 initially because I bumped up the number of 1-drop Son Goku, Vegeta, Saiyan synergies, and just having this many negates in deck, you know, as it is now, I'm playing with 7 actual negates in deck, and you just don't need more than that, mostly. The deck draws a ton, the deck moves its resources a ton, so you have things when you need them. You can really dictate when and how you play the game. So having additional a 4th Dimension Magic to me didn't seem worth it, especially with all the blue hate running around, and this has not failed me. Like, I've usually got one for those critical moments that I don't want to deal with over comboing a big card. But that, by my count, is the 50 card Paikuhan deck. I really love this deck. It's not the best deck in the world. You know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's a tier 1, that this would play some big event. And in fact, one of the bigger problems with the deck overall is that if you're in a timed format, like a best of 3, I don't know if you could pilot this deck in a best of 3 and be able to finish 3 rounds. You know, three games within a match. I just don't think that you could do it, because the deck does a lot during its turn, and it's pretty hard for your opponent to straight out kill this unless they can catch you unresourced on turn 2. But if you play the deck intelligently, it can survive just about anything. Super resilient, keeps a fat hand throughout the entirety of the game. It doesn't use a lot of its resources. It's an incredibly fun deck that uses a different playstyle than we've seen before. So give it a shot. This deck is fantastic. The whole cycle search is a fantastic mechanic. it's super consistent. Initially, I was playing with like 9 Paikons in the deck, and it's so consistent that I was able to cut that down to 6 total Paikons, and I don't feel a difference. I was just seeing Paikons that weren't helping me, so I've removed and kind of twisted some of the numbers around a little bit. So, hope you like it. Let me know in the comments below if there's anything that you would change, or if there's anything that you want to see Bancroft, Jimmy, Jake, anyone, anything that you want to see us make. As always, read your cards, know your plays, let us make mistakes so you don't have to, and fluff out.